Time to wake up, sleepy boo.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back, and today we're gonna talk about the electrifying world of Jujutsu Kaisen. An anime that blends wild supernatural action, emotionally complex characters, and some of the most hilarious moments you're gonna see in the genre. Whether you've already been sucked into the cursed energy madness, or you're just hearing about it for the first time, this video is going to give you everything you need to know about why Jujutsu Kaisen is a series that should be on the top of your watch list. Think of Jujutsu Kaisen like this: cursed monsters, jujutsu sorcerers, teens with insane powers, and existential crises all packed into one epic anime. But it's also so much more than that.
Tell me more.
It's got heart, dark humor, killer action scenes, and deep emotional beats that hit you when you least expect it. And of course, there's the classic anime chaos where you never quite know what's gonna happen next. So, if you're ready to dive into a world where people fight curses and eat cursed fingers, yep, that really happens.
Stay tuned for more.
Let's kick things off and talk about the plot. On the surface, Jujutsu Kaisen has a pretty classic shonen setup. You've got a high school kid, Yuji Itadori, who gets thrown into a world of supernatural danger that he never expected.
I'm finally free!
But Jujutsu Kaisen takes this familiar formula and cranks it up to 11 with a ton of twists, insane powers, and some seriously dark themes. Yuji Itadori, our main guy, is not your average high school student. He's freakishly strong, super fast, and has no problem casually jumping out of windows to save people. He's also got a heart of gold, always trying to help others, whether it's saving a stray cat or visiting his sick grandpa, but everything changes when Yuji and his friends stumble across a cursed object. An old, decayed finger. And not just any finger.
It's a cursed finger.
This one belongs to Sukuna, the most dangerous curse in existence. Naturally, things go from bad to worse when Yuji does the unthinkable. In an effort to save his friends from a deadly curse, he swallows Sukuna's finger.
Delicious.
Yep, you heard that right. He straight up eats it like a hot wing at a barbecue.
There is no chance.
Now, Sukuna's spirit is living inside Yuji's body, and let's just say Sukuna isn't the kind of roommate you want to have.
It's just, he uses old t-shirts as wash rags.
He's an ancient, sadistic demon king with immense power, and he's biding his time, waiting for the chance to take over Yuji's body and cause absolute havoc. Yuji's life quickly spirals into chaos as he's recruited by Jujutsu High, a school for jujutsu sorcerers who fight cursed monsters, called curses because, well, originality, right? Their mission is to find the rest of Sukuna's cursed fingers, which are scattered all over the place, and destroy him for good. The only problem? Yuji has to keep consuming these cursed fingers himself like it's part of his diet plan, inching closer and closer to losing control to Sukuna. Tough luck, Yuji. Let's talk about Yuji Itadori. The kind of guy you'd want as a best friend, but you'd also worry about because he's constantly putting his life on the line for others. Yuji is one of those shonen protagonists who starts out as your typical I just want to help people character, but his journey takes him through some seriously heavy stuff. What sets Yuji apart from other shonen heroes is his incredible selflessness. He's constantly risking everything to protect others, even when it means putting himself in harm's way or, swallowing cursed objects. But Yuji isn't just a goody two-shoes hero. As the series progresses, he grapples with some intense philosophical questions. What does it mean to live a meaningful life? Can he really save everyone? And is it worth the risk to keep fighting when so many people around him are suffering or dying? These internal struggles make Yuji more relatable because, let's face it, who hasn't questioned their purpose in life from time to time? I know I do. On top of that, Yuji's dynamic with Sukuna makes for one of the most interesting hero-villain pairings in anime. Rather than fighting Sukuna in the traditional sense, Yuji has to coexist with him. Sukuna lives inside Yuji like a ticking time bomb, and though Yuji keeps him at bay most of the time, there's always that underlying tension that Sukuna could break free at any moment, and it's this unpredictable element that keeps things exciting. Next up, we've got Megumi Fushiguro, Yuji's partner in cursed crime. If Yuji is the enthusiastic, optimistic hero, Megumi is his brooding, complex counterpart. Megumi is one of those characters who's always quiet, always serious, and always deep in thought. He doesn't say much, but when he does, you know it's gonna be important. He's the classic definition of, I have issues.
I wouldn't have to talk about them.
Megumi's backstory is shrouded in mystery, but spoiler alert, we do know he's from a powerful sorcerer family and has some serious issues with his upbringing. Classic anime stuff, right? He's driven by a strong sense of justice, but he's also carrying a ton of emotional baggage. Megumi has this whole lone wolf vibe going on, which makes him seem like the typical emo character at first glance, but as the series goes on, we see that Megumi cares deeply for his friends, even though he tries to hide it behind his stoic exterior. What really makes Megumi stand out though is his fighting style. Unlike Yuji, who relies on brute force, Megumi is a master tactician. He uses his cursed energy to summon these incredible Shikigami, cursed creatures that fight for him. His go-to creatures are these cursed dogs, which he can summon in battle to tear his enemies apart. Legit, right? Megumi's battles are always a mix of strategy and raw power, which makes his scenes some of the most exciting to watch for me. Let's move on to the absolute queen of Jujutsu Kaisen, Nobara Kugisaki.
釘崎野原喜べ男子こう言ってんよ
Nobara is the character who breaks every stereotype about female characters in shonen anime. She's not there to be a love interest, she's not there for any fan service, and she's definitely not there to be protected. Nobara is fierce, confident, and unapologetically herself. I mean, she doesn't give a damn. She's all about fashion, and she fights with a hammer and nails. And if that's not one of the coolest things you've ever heard of, I don't know what is. Her curse technique allows her to drive nails into her enemies from a distance using her cursed energy. It's creative, brutal, and fits perfectly with her no-nonsense attitude.
Possible match for you.
Nobara is the kind of character who doesn't take crap from anyone, and she'll let you know it with her savage one-liners.
Yeah, for running away like a little bitch.
Seriously, her comebacks are iconic. This is a no-joke zone. But there's more to Nobara than just her badass fighting skills. She's driven by a deep sense of self-worth and refuses to be seen as weaker or less important than the male characters. Nobara's confidence is one of her defining traits, and it's refreshing to see a female character in a shonen series who isn't sidelined or reduced to a supporting role. Nobara fights just as hard, if not harder, than anyone else, and she's proud of it. And then we have the man, the myth, the legend, Satoru Gojo.
Clever men. Brilliant men.
If you've been around the anime community at all, you've probably seen Gojo popping up everywhere. There's a reason for that. He's OP. Overpowered for those not in the anime loop. But let's be real, you probably knew that already. And an absolute fan favorite. Gojo is the strongest jujutsu sorcerer in the world, and he knows it. He's the kind of character who walks into a fight with a blindfold on, not because he's handicapping himself, but because he's just that confident or cocky. His ability, Infinity, basically makes him untouchable. Anyone who tries to attack him basically ends up hitting an invisible barrier that keeps them at a distance. Gojo is literally so powerful that he has to limit himself or things are gonna get out of control. How crazy is that? But what really makes Gojo fun to watch is his personality. He's got this carefree, almost childish attitude, and he's constantly teasing his students. He doesn't take anything too seriously, except when it comes to protecting the people he cares about. When Gojo does get serious, you know things are about to get real. He's the mentor figure you want on your side, not just because he can destroy enemies with a flick of his finger, but because he genuinely cares about helping his students grow stronger. And finally, we have Sukuna, the big bad curse that's living inside Yuji. Sukuna is one of the best villains in anime, period. He's terrifying, unpredictable, and unapologetically evil. He doesn't have a tragic backstory or some noble motivation, he's just pure chaos. Classic villain move. Also, he's snarky as hell, and he just enjoys causing destruction, watching people suffer, and making Yuji's life as difficult as possible. You gotta love a bad guy with a sense of humor. The dynamic between Sukuna and Yuji is one of the highlights of the show. Sukuna is trapped inside Yuji's body, and while Yuji has control most of the time, Sukuna is always waiting for his chance to break free, and when he does, watch out! Sukuna's power is unmatched, and every time he takes over, the stakes go through the roof. What makes Sukuna such an interesting villain is his relationship with Yuji. There's a twisted sort of respect between them, but also a constant power struggle. Sukuna sees Yuji as nothing more than a vessel, a tool for him to use, but Yuji is determined to keep him in check, no matter the cost. It's a battle of wills that keeps the tension high throughout the series. Now, I found that really intriguing. Next, let's talk about the best part, in my opinion, of Jujutsu Kaisen.
I go that way, you go this way. Yes. Okay.
The action. This anime delivers some of the most mind-blowing fight scenes you're ever going to see. The animation is top tier, with fluid choreography, explosive powers, and enough high-stakes tension to keep you glued to the screen. Let's be real, Jujutsu Kaisen hits harder than your alarm clock on a Monday morning, and it's not just about obliterating cursed monsters, though, let's be honest, that's a huge selling point. This anime digs deeper, like, I'm questioning my entire existence. That's the kind of deep. First off, let's talk action. The fight scenes? Absolutely insane! I'm talking top tier choreography with curses and sorcerers flying at each other like it's an Olympic sport. Every battle has you glued to the screen, feeling like a martial arts master from the comfort of my couch. There's no meh.
Seen better.
Nah, Jujutsu Kaisen keeps my pulse racing. But here's where it gets wild. It's not all fists and curses. Yuji's out there having full-blown existential crises. The dude's constantly questioning life, wondering why bad things happen to good people, and wrestling with the idea of what it really means to live. It's like the show Loki wants to be your therapist, and honestly, it works. You'll catch yourself thinking about those deep questions long after the episode ends. And just when the feels start getting too real, boom, Gojo cracks a joke, Nabara drops a savage one-liner, and suddenly you're laughing out loud. The humor is dry, sarcastic, and so relatable that it balances the intense emotional roller coaster perfectly. It's like they know we're on the verge of tears and decide to throw a laugh as a lifeline. Honestly, it's genius. Let's dive into some cool Japanese culture bits that totally amp up the vibe in Jujutsu Kaisen, because what's an anime breakdown without some cultural flavor? Am I right? Yeah! First up, cursed objects. Sukuna's fingers, right? Yeah, they're inspired by Japanese folklore. In Japan, there's this idea that objects connected to death or suffering can hold serious spiritual power, and get this, in Japanese tradition, it's believed that after 100 years, everyday things like dolls or tools can develop a soul or turn into supernatural beings. Imagine your vacuum cleaner come to life after a century. Kind of hilarious and terrifying at the same time, right? That's the energy behind these cursed items. Then we've got the Shinto and Buddhist vibes. The whole concept of curses in the show, well, that ties straight back to Shintoism, one of Japan's major religions. In Shinto, everything has a spirit. Picture My Neighbor Totoro, but with a darker twist. Bad energies build up, creating malevolent spirits, just like the curses in Jujutsu Kaisen. It's like a reflection of how negative emotions can manifest into something really dangerous, like a walking bad vibe. And don't forget about the Onmyoji. Basically, they're the OG Jujutsu sorcerers. These ancient exorcists were all about dealing with spirits and keeping balance, just like the Jujutsu sorcerers we love in the show. Yuji and the gang are kinda like the modern anime-powered version of Onmyoji, except with way cooler powers and next-level fighting scenes. So, why is everyone so obsessed with Jujutsu Kaisen?
Simple.
This anime hits every note. Want insane action scenes? That's right, you got them. Looking for characters with emotional depth? Prepare to get the feels. And if you enjoy dark humor in the middle of life or death battles, this show has you covered. Plus, Mappa Studios, the same geniuses behind Attack on Titan, are in charge, and you can tell. The animation? Mwah, perfection! And let's not forget, it's dark. Not your, oh, they'll be fine kind of dark, but real, no one is safe dark. Characters die, and when they're gone, they are gone. That's what keeps you on the edge. The stakes are through the roof, making each episode feel like a pulse-pounding horror flick, but with fight scenes that are on a whole nother level. Quick heads up though, the anime is not done yet. Season 1 came out with 24 episodes, and it was an instant hit. We watched Yuji Itadori's journey from a high school kid to cursed finger-eating sorcerer, plus some jaw-dropping battles. After that, Jujutsu Kaisen dropped a prequel movie all about Yuta Okotsu. And trust me, if you haven't watched it yet, go do that like right now. It's a must-see. And Yuta's about to be your new favorite character. Fast forward to 2024, and Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 is bringing the heat, driving straight into the Shibuya incident arc. Manga readers know this is where things hit the fan. No spoilers, but it's basically the chaos of Season 1 amplified. If you thought the fights were intense before, you haven't seen anything yet. For those who can't wait between episodes, the manga is where it's at. Creator Gege Akutami has said the story is nearing its climax, but we're not there yet. With over 200 chapters, the manga is a roller coaster of curse techniques, epic battles, and heart-wrenching moments. If you're impatient like me, reading ahead is a perfect way to keep your Jujutsu Kaisen cravings satisfied, while waiting for the anime to catch up. If you've already seen Jujutsu Kaisen, let me know your favorite moment in the comments below. If you haven't, well,
What are you waiting for?
hey, slow down, don't leave so soon, hit that like button and subscribe for more anime breakdowns before heading to see those breathtaking scenes. So, see you in the next video.
See you later.